This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas, joined again by Hank Goldberg. Happy Friday morning to you, Hank.
Yeah, and looking forward to a long day on Christmas. And but I'll be working CBS on Sunday morning, and I have to do dialysis at 5 a.m. before I go to before I get a long day on Christmas. It's going to be a tough one, but it's when the tough get going.
You're right. Yeah. How long is dialysis? A couple hours?
It's 3 hours. I have to be at CBS at 10:30. So and we have our live shot at 12:30. So
How long is that show?
I'm on for 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, good luck with that.
But if people want the fix, they have to. They really have to dial us up before that.
That's right. That's why they want to go to JimFeist.com. Hank's picks in college and pro sports are there each and every day, and of course horses are there on the weekends. And JimFeist.com, Hank Goldberg, and you won't be sorry. Hank's been making everybody money all year long. Get in there and buy his picks. You won't be sorry. That's for sure. Hank, we got an interesting card of pro football games, and we were just going over some of the ramifications of different things. And I mean, just looking at, we started out by looking at the Jacksonville-San Francisco game. Now, Jacksonville has a 2-game edge over Tennessee, which is their only rival in their division. However, Tennessee plays their next 2 games at home, and Jacksonville plays their last 2 games on the road. And from what we could figure out, if we're not wrong here, if Jacksonville were to lose both games and Tennessee won both games, Tennessee would win the division. Is that the way you see it?
Yep, because of the tiebreaker, because Tennessee would have 2 wins over Jacksonville.
Right.
Now, Tennessee, of course, has the Rams, and that's an interesting game to me because Tennessee is 5-1 at home against the spread. They do play better at home, and they've got a team coming in there that has San Francisco next week and is coming off a 42-7 win against Seattle last week. So it's a little bit of a sandwich situation because they're traveling east to play a non-conference game, or non-division game rather, and it's Tennessee is capable of putting together a balanced offensive situation against a team that's coming off a huge win that could have a little bit of a letdown. And I think the coach is going to be a little cautious about how many times he wants to give Gurley the ball because he's looking ahead to the playoffs, and he doesn't want to use up his guys. And that's what you got to look out for with these last 2 games. So, and they're given 7 points right now on the road against a team that hasn't been playing up to what their potential is, but is capable of pulling off an upset in this situation, getting 7 points at home. Mariota last week had a good game against San Francisco. It was his defense that couldn't hold off the 49ers at the end of that game. And so I think that game's a little, I'm not playing that game, but Tennessee's a possibility. And so Jacksonville, but that game will be done, I think, by the time Jacksonville takes the field at San Francisco. So they'll know what they have to do.
Yeah, if Tennessee were to win that game against the Rams, there's more pressure on Jacksonville to perform. And of course, the reverse would be true.
Well, this is an interesting test for Garoppolo because he's played his 3 wins have come against teams that haven't been going so well, including Tennessee, that have been miserable on the road. Now he's playing a team that has something like 40 sacks. He's going to get pressure, and he's playing against the top defense in the league. Jacksonville has the #1 defense. And so, we'll see. And everybody's raving about him, and justifiably so. But this is a big challenge for San Francisco, whose defense is not very good. And so, the two top quarterbacks right now, statistically, in the last couple of weeks, are him and Bortles.
Yeah,
Bortles has been very good for the last month or so.
He's really turned his career around. He was pretty much dead man walking for a while, but he really started to play better. And I saw some of the throws he's made the last couple of weeks. Been very, very impressive. Very impressive.
So if Tennessee could pull the upset against the Rams, that's going to be an interesting game to watch.
Yes. I kind of expect the Rams to have a little bit of a letdown there. I know they're not going to come in there flat, but energy of playing Seattle has always been a difficult one, even though the game was really easy for them. Going on the road 3,000 miles away from home, they played another road game back-to-back against a desperate team. I mean, the way they handled Seattle last week is amazing. 7 sacks in the game. And Mariota has not played well lately.
Remember the 23 touch theory on Gurley. They're unbeaten when they're 8-0 when Gurley touches the ball 23 times, and they're 2-4 when he doesn't. And I'm wondering if they're going to use Gurley that much in this game. I think they want to save him.
Yeah. I'm trying to, piecing this all together is Tennessee would be in the playoffs if the season ended today, but needs better results than it got in Week 15 to stay in that position. The Titans are 8-6, 6-7-1 ATS, lost to San Francisco 25-23 on a last-second field goal, though they cashed the number. Mariota just isn't playing at the same level he was before the injury earlier in the season. Tough spot. This is what makes the final couple weeks in the NFL so very interesting and challenging, and I love it. Digging through all of this.
Mariota put up good numbers last week, but because he had no pressure. San Francisco has no pass rush whatsoever, and so Bortles could have a big game against them.
I'm sorry, I have telephone issues here. Everything is ringing at the same time. Got another, moving on to another situation is Atlanta and the Saints. Huge game. I know you said yesterday or the day before that you didn't feel like Matt Ryan was playing very well, missing a lot of his targets, making maybe some poor decisions. They won the first game, but that was with Kamara for the Saints got hurt very early in that game.
First play.
Was it the first play? That's and that's a big weapon. They build their offense around him. So that's a spot for the Saints to really come back. I mean, if they want to have a shot at this division, that's going to be a war. That's not going to be an easy game for anybody.
Well, remember there was some Atlanta won that game because they had about 4 tries to score that to make that last score, and despite the fact that the Saints didn't have their number one back, they could have won that game if the officials, there was some really questionable calls that went against the Saints, and Peyton, remember, drew that flag for going out on the field. There was a lot of things that did not go the Saints' way. That was a terribly officiated game. They had an interference call that was ridiculous. It was that set up that final score, and it was just a debacle, that game, for a lot of reasons. I think the Saints going to be very fired up for this game. But one thing about Atlanta, they've got both running backs healthy for this game. As the number 2 back he passed the concussion protocol. So I think they're going to be running the ball a lot against New Orleans. And so New Orleans are going to be tested for their run defense. I don't think they want the ball in Matty Ice's hands to decide this one. So if New Orleans can hold up against the running game, I think they'll be all right. And one thing about New Orleans, they will be running the ball significantly. And, if Breeze can get his 2 touchdown passes, which he's accustomed to, and they can run the ball in the red zone, they'll score a bunch of points against Atlanta's defense, which isn't that great against the run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you have good running backs on each side. So, interesting. That's an interesting point, Hank, because what you're dealing with here, a game opens 53.5. It's indoors, so the weather isn't going to be an issue. But it's come down to 52.5. And I think people are looking at, both these teams, big game, pressure game. There's 4 good running backs in this game. And you've got to figure they're going to try to control the ball on the ground. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to take the quarterbacks out of it, because they are very good quarterbacks. So,
well, I think that Atlanta is going to try to take their quarterback out of it, because he's been very inaccurate and very erratic. And I think they're going to want to try to run the ball as much as they can, particularly since both their backs have been cleared to play.
Well, 4 games back, the Saints lost defensive end Alex Okafor, who is still second on the team in sacks, despite missing so much time already. Safety Kenny Vaccaro and key linebacker Klein are gone. Vaccaro tied for the team lead in tackles despite missing 2 games earlier. And Klein would have led linebackers in tackles if he had not missed 2 earlier games. So their defense has been compromised. And you're playing with a lot of backup people.
Well, their 2 young corners are fine. And they've been pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. It's these are these key spots. I think we both agree. You're really digging into these games as we go along. Seattle, do they bounce back? Do they have anything left, Hank?
Well, they've got Wagner who's going to play, and so I think he's going to play anyway. And they've got, but I think Dallas right now is coming in there with, with Zeke. Dallas has got to keep winning in order to make the postseason. And I think right now that Seattle offensively is a one-man show, and Dallas' defense probably going to be shutting him down because they saw what the Rams did, and Dallas has the pass rush, and I think that Russ is going to have a tough time against that defense, and I think Dallas' defense will be key. And I also think that Ezekiel is going to gain. He's not going to gain 200 yards like he says, but he makes a big difference. When he's running the ball well, it makes a big difference in what the quarterback can do.
Oh yeah, I was watching. I was reading on the when Dak Prescott doesn't have Ezekiel Elliott, his quarterback rating is like in the 60s. When he has him, his quarterback rating is in the high 80s. There's a huge difference in his performance when he has that running back. They did lose their left tackle. That is an issue because their backup left tackle has not played well.
No, but I think that they'll cover him up. I think they'll put an extra tight end in there, and they'll try to protect him that way.
Buffalo, New England, 12-point dog. Still fighting for their life. New England is this is their first home game or second home game in like 7 weeks. It's a tough place to play.
Tough weather game.
Yeah.
Pretty cold up there. I also think that Buffalo, they, I don't know about Buffalo going to New England. Their record there is horrendous. And I think New England, we both agree that New England looked a little tired the last couple of weeks, but Gronk is on a mission. And, everybody is talking about how Gronk, the last time they played against Buffalo, he got suspended for the late hit. And I think Gronk is up to a good tone.
Well, there's no one person that can defend Gronk. That's for sure. So when you play man on man with that guy, you're just not going to beat him. He's an amazing athlete, amazing talent, no question about it.
I think there are a lot of attractive games this week, and I don't think I need to get involved in that one. It just doesn't. You got a weather factor there, and you've got there's some issues between Belichick right now and Brady that Belichick, I'm sure, wants to quash. And Belichick wasn't totally happy with the way the Patriots have been playing, so he's been cracking a whip.
Right. Yeah, Brady's private trainer was barred from traveling with the team, and what the heck is going on there?
I guess Belichick, from what they're reporting, is apparently kind of resents the relationship between Brady and Kraft.
Yeah, maybe there's a crack in the armor.
I wouldn't count on it.
Well, every good thing has to come to an end, right? It's. I certainly am not laying 12 points. If I play the game, I'm on the dog.
I'm not playing the game.
But any other games that are compelling to you and could be for the fans that, I really can't sit here and talk much about Cleveland and Chicago. It just doesn't, I can't figure it out. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
Yeah, I like a couple of games that don't necessarily have any significance towards the standings, but I think Denver has come to life and they're getting a little more than a field goal in the game, where their defense is playing very well right now, and Simeon is coming off a good game where he's got his targets, and and Anderson is running the ball extremely well, and their offensive line is playing okay, and I think they can win their game outright. And the other game that is the Giants at Arizona. Arizona's changing quarterbacks for some reason because Gabbard had been playing pretty well. And the other thing, I think Arizona may not have their top running back, and there are a bunch of guys hurt on the defensive side of the ball. They don't have a healthy linebacker, and Eli is coming off a 400-yard game, and he always plays well in the desert for some reason. And they're getting a little better than the field goal. So I think those are two games that you might catch a winner.
Who do you expect to start at quarterback for Denver?
For Denver?
Yeah.
The same guy who finished up last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he played pretty well. That was one of his best games.
Yep. He looked very good. And then, part of it is Anderson had a big game. I think he had 150 some odd yards rushing the ball. And there's no reason to think that they won't be able to run the ball again this week.
Okay. Well, we did talk about Detroit, and I think we both agree that Cincinnati has quit on the year, and Detroit is. If you're going to play the game, you might pass the game, but if you're going to play the game, the only side to play would be Detroit.
Yeah, Cincinnati is playing at home this week, and they're saying, well, maybe they go out and try to win this one for the coach who's maybe playing out the string. But I think and by the way, the quarterback has been benched the last 2 weeks.
Right.
So you got a little bit of an issue there.
We've got a couple Saturday games. The Baltimore Ravens are in a great position. Their last 3 games are against pretty lousy opponents. And if they were to win out, they've guaranteed themselves a playoff spot. Of course, Minnesota's a Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers has been put on the IR list, so he is out for the remainder of this season, which is smart, because they're not going anywhere. And of course, Minnesota's a big adjustment, but it's not really a line movement, it's an adjustment. When the game opened, it was Minnesota 1.5, and when they made the announcement that Aaron Rodgers wouldn't play, it's at 8.5 and 9. That's not a line move, that's an adjustment. So, I mean, it's the difference between Hundley and Rodgers, which that's more than that.
Well, Minnesota's going from a dome into bitter cold. That's one factor to look out for there. And as far as the other game is concerned, you got Baltimore, who is hated in Indianapolis because they moved away. You've got Baltimore for some reason. Indianapolis and Baltimore, you've got that. Those two teams don't like each other very much because of the movement years ago. But Indianapolis moved from Baltimore, but they've just never gotten along, those two teams. But Indianapolis is terrible right now. Their defense is horrible, and this is a big game for the Ravens because if they win out, they're in the playoffs, and they're playing very well right now. They've got a big-time running game, and Flacco is playing very well. So and the running game has really helped them significantly.
Yeah, they're actually playing as good as anybody right now, and they should have beat Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago, and at the end of the game they lost 39-38. But they're playing very well right now. So Hank, we're running along. I want to wish everybody out there a Merry Christmas, and yourself as well, Hank. And
Wonderful Christmas to everybody.
And we'll get back at this on Monday. So, well, actually not Monday, but we'll meet up again on next Wednesday, because Monday we're not going to do a podcast.
Boy, there's a lot of good basketball on Monday, and I guess other than that, you got some bowl games coming up. Plenty of action.
Lots of action. You know, Hank's been doing really great. I'm doing great. And go to gym5.com and get involved with us, because we're going to make you money. So, Hank, everybody, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hank, thank you very much today. And we'll talk to you soon.